Most of us enjoy the freedom of the open road. Getting in the car and making a journey can sometimes be something that we take completely for granted. I know I do. I'd certainly feel very isolated and miserable if I couldn't get around in my car. But there are issues that we need to consider as we get older, not only to ensure that we stay legal, but to be safe as well. We want to keep to a bare minimum the risks that we face and the risks that we pose to others. I hope this video will help you and your family make some sensible, informed decisions about driving, whether you're thinking about your own situation or trying to help someone else with theirs. When you reach the age of 70, your driving licence will expire. Current legislation requires you to reapply to the Driving and Vehicle Licensing Agency when you receive the renewal application form. There's no cost involved in renewing, there's no retest, and there's no medical examination required. But you will be asked to mention any medical conditions that you may have and confirm that you're able to meet the eyesight standards required for driving. So, what are the things that change as we grow older? Dr. Amanda Kilsby is a specialist in geriatric medicine.
Let's start with bones. Osteoporosis is a condition where your bones are more thin. It happens more commonly in women and in the hip and in the wrist, and it means that your bones break more easily. Arthritis has different forms. Each of those have different symptoms and different treatments. Arthritis can attack joints in any part of the body, and 50% of people aged 60 and over have arthritis in some part of the body. Osteoarthritis, or OA for short, is the most common type of arthritis in elder people. It starts when cartilage begins to become ragged and wear away. Rheumatoid arthritis causes inflammation in your joints, leading to pain, swelling and stiffness that can last for hours. All of these mean that older drivers tend to be frailer, so that if they have an accident, the damage tends to be more serious.
Sometimes the changes brought about by ageing are mental rather than physical.
As we age, we require more time than younger people to process new information. Long-term memory tends to decline. The prevalence of dementia varies with age. In patients over the age of 85, it can affect up to 20% of the population. However, in younger patients, so in patients over the age of 65, it only affects up to 10%. A diagnosis of dementia doesn't necessarily mean that you need to stop driving. What matters from both a legal and practical point of view is whether you're able to drive safely. You must inform the DVLA of your situation.
Most people over 65 have some changes to their vision, whether that's to the retina or peripheral vision. Optometrist Professor Steve Taylor explains.
Well, there are a whole string of changes. I mean, the most common one that you'll notice is your visual acuity, which means that you won't see so clearly. And if that happens, then it means your ability to read road signs are affected, so you have to get closer to see them, so it has an impact on driving. Secondly, you'll need more light to see things than you used to have to use. And if you get that situation, then driving in dusk and dawn and at night becomes an issue for you. You find that your visual reaction time is slower, so that means you'll take longer to stop once you've seen something happening in front of you than you would when you were younger. In addition to that, you'll find concentration is more difficult, so you're more likely to make errors of judgment over longer journeys because your concentration drifts a little bit away.
To be road legal, you need to be able to read a number plate from a distance of 20 metres. If you need glasses or contact lenses to see this far, do make sure that you wear them every single time that you drive.
Most of the information that we use when we're driving is taken from the eyes and the vision, so it's very important that we see things properly. People, because of the changes that happen over time, really need to be checked over at regular intervals. We recommend every couple of years would be reasonable for people to have an eye test. Not to worry, they do find things, because the earlier you find something, the more easier it is to deal with. For something like a cataract, if it's picked up early, it can be monitored and then dealt with at an appropriate time to get your vision back to where it should be.
A GP can ask a patient to inform the DVLA of a specific medical condition that could compromise their ability to drive safely. If the patient refuses, then the GP can write to the DVLA without the patient's permission, though they should of course inform the patient in writing that they've done this. The GP can also write to the DVLA if he or she believes that the patient is incapable of making a decision to stop driving. Making contact with a mobility centre might be a good idea. There's a national network and they're ready to offer expert help. David Williams is Chief Executive of GEM Motoring Assist.
It may be that you'll need to make contact with a mobility centre where you'll receive help and advice about driving, as well as an assessment of your ability to drive. The assessment includes an interview with an occupational therapist, as well as a reaction time and vision test. Drivability centres are accredited by the DVLA and are used for official testing, as well as to help drivers with specific solutions to their difficulties.
So, what are some of the specific risks faced by an older driver? Rob Hurd from Hampshire Police explains.
Crash risk has been shown to increase after the age of 75. Common mistakes of older drivers include failing to give way, failing to stay in the lane, and misjudging the time or distance needed to turn in front of other traffic. Older drivers are more likely to get into crashes at junctions where they will typically be in the vehicle that's struck by another.
Wow, sorry, I do apologise. Of course, we all want to stay mobile as long as possible, but what advice is there about knowing that it may be time to stop driving?
Drivers will be aware of two lines of evidence really. One's from how they feel themselves in the traffic environment. Are they starting to feel more stressed, more confused, more irritated by the actions of other drivers? And those are clear signs that something different is happening and perhaps risk is changing. And the other very strong line of evidence is how they feel about the reactions of other passengers in their vehicle, and they will know if their passengers are feeling comfortable, whether they're feeling confident, whether they're criticising their driving. And that all starts to build a picture which, taken together, will give early warning signs to the driver that something needs to be looked at in more detail, or there are assessments which need to be made.
There's a lot to find out, and all kinds of reference sources are on the internet, at your GP surgery or in a public library. But stop to consider your own instincts about safe driving too. If you don't feel as safe as you once did, then this is the time to make some changes. Perhaps change your car, reduce your mileage, avoid driving at night. We oldies do tend to be good at knowing our own limitations and adapting to them. And that means that we're doing our bit to stay safe on the road.